about what you're telling me.
Some cops believe their badge gives them some sort of immunity, but the courtroom forgives no one, starting with a case where an officer who attempted to hide his crimes felt the almighty fist of justice. In February of 2021, police arrived at Daniel Howard's residence, but when they went up to investigate his bathroom, what they found was shocking.
Come on out, sir. Over here, come on. I initially talked to Mr. Howard outside the front door, and then I walked past him into the house. Sit up here, okay? Looked around the living room, didn't see her, and I didn't remember exactly where she was supposed to be, so I went back out. Sir? Upstairs in the bathroom. She's upstairs in the bathroom? Okay, upstairs in the bathroom. Let's go. And so then I went back upstairs and found her.
And can you describe what you saw in the bathroom?
I saw a woman naked in the bathtub with an apparent gunshot wound.
Did Daniel just not hear a gunshot, or did he choose to ignore it? Seems really suspicious to me so far.
Anything else you could observe in the bathtub besides her?
Yes, there was a gun laying to the right of her in the water, and there was the water was tinted red. Once her pulse was checked, no pulse was found by Deputy 9. Called for medical, and then they came in and announced that she was deceased.
Talk to Mr. Howard after you observed his wife dead upstairs in the bathroom.
I did.
What was that contact all about?
I was trying to get a timeline from Mr. Howard of when he had last seen his wife and let him know that she was deceased.
Howard's behavior in this next clip is particularly distressing to look at.
I'm sorry to inform you, but your wife is passed, sir. No, God damn it! Is there anyone that we can call for you? Anyone that can get attempts to my kids? Oh my God! Do it! Is there anyone we can call to give you some support or anything like that? Any family that... My son. Do you have your son's number? I'll get your son's number from you.
For someone whose wife just died, he doesn't seem as distressed as one would hope. There is definitely something much more sinister in the mix here.
Do you know Wyatt's phone number off the top of your head? 683. Anything else we need to for you, sir? We can tell him. Do you want me to tell him anything, or do you want me to just tell him to come down here to see you? Okay. God, I don't know. I want to build something here.
What really convinced me of his guilt in the matter is shown in this next clip, a slip-up which he will regret for the rest of his life.
Dan, I know this is hard, but when is the last time that you saw your wife alive? I know this is tough. How long ago? Can you recall? What time is it? Did you call 911 when you heard the gunshot? No. Okay. I didn't. What? Oh no. It sounded like something hit the floor or something. I don't know.
Sounded like something hit the floor. So he heard a gunshot and didn't even bother to check? I find that very hard to believe.
When was the last time you saw your wife before you went to go take a bath? I don't know. Okay. I really don't know. I'm putting it out of it. It's about 11:15. Maybe 9:30. 9:30 or so? I think. Okay. I don't know. I might be wrong.
So he waited a good 2 hours before calling the police. That doesn't sit well with me at all. This man is guilty and he knows it.
You want me to just tell Mike to come here and meet you? Or... What do you tell him? You want me to let you tell him or
Somebody just tell me, sir. Okay.
The jury convicted Daniel Howard of second-degree murder and domestic battery in March. No parole. Dan Howard is going to die in prison, Kootenai County Prosecutor Stanley Mortensen said. Dan Howard may have been sentenced to life in jail, but the sentence this next cop got was much worse.
Think about what you're doing.
In June of 2006, Officer Jeff Pilo was arrested under suspicion of attempted battery and stalking. However, in this, a whole other double life of his was exposed, and it is horrifying.
I was in shock, absolute shock. I looked at the door and saw the light there, and something just didn't seem right, and that's when I saw him.
And what does he say to you?
He said that, "I'm only here to burglarize you. I don't want to hurt you, but if you scream, if you make any noise, I'll shoot you." And the next thing I remember is he was on top of me in the bed. He actually taped all the way around my head so that I wouldn't be able to open my mouth at all. Tape over my eyes.
So you couldn't see?
I couldn't see, and then he actually took the pillowcase off my pillow and put it over my head as well.
That must have been scary.
Extremely. He seemed very assertive when he talked.
Pilo didn't stop here, as he proceeded to violate Christy for 45 minutes before forcing her into a bathroom to remove any evidence. He proceeded to do the same to another woman by the name of Sarah. However, he couldn't get away with it this time.
At the beginning it was gun to my head, knife to my throat. Every single thing he did, he was physically threatening me. He knew everything about me. What my sister looks like, to what car my husband drove, my work schedule. He knew where I worked out, pretty much everything.
Sarah had memorized Pilo's physical appearance, which later led to his capture and incarceration.
This isn't the way we wanted this to happen, right? We wanted you to come down here and go and all kind of stuff. We said chat, all kind of stuff. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. You know, you went down with the Sanger, with Mosier, and as you know, we have rules that we have to go by. Just as, you know, you're very familiar with all this stuff, you know what's going on, kind of stuff. We're not absolutely sure what's going on. Okay? What are you talking about? I have to read you your rights first. At this point, you're not free to go.
The interrogator is clearly horrified by the notion that another cop could be guilty of such a heinous crime. Unfortunately for him, the rabbit hole only gets deeper from here.
Talking about, I want to hear what you have to say about it, and I'm really hoping there is a good explanation for it all.
You're talking about Zena.
Yes.
When I was walking around by the lake, looking at the lake down there. All right, houses come up for sale in that area all the time. I'm interested in buying my mother-in-law a house. She lives up in Greeley. She's, you know, she's poor. She's on fixed income. I wanted to move closer to us. Houses come for sale. There's a townhome right there for sale. It won't work, but anyway, I was looking to see what kind of access went down to that lake. That's all.
Pilo's story doesn't seem to be really coherent so far. We'll only get to know the reality as the video progresses.
Where'd you park it? I don't know the name of the street. But it wasn't right there where you were at.
It was by the lake. That lake goes behind those houses.
You understand how difficult the situation this is for everyone involved, including yourself, really.
Yes,
Right?
I understand.
And irregardless of what, you know, our feelings are towards each other and all that kind of stuff, I think we've always got along. There are just some things that happened last night that just doesn't add up. And you know, Jeff, you know, as a former investigator yourself.
If you think Pilo had shot himself in the foot with his story so far, you haven't seen anything yet.
I couldn't keep going straight. There's a drainage thing that goes down the lake. I couldn't keep walking. So I walked up, the dog started barking, and oh hell. So I walked up between the houses and go to the road. All right. He comes around, I thought maybe it was the homeowner. I was like, I don't want to startle, you know. He startled me, so I turned to walk back down. He said, stop, please. I was like, oh, hell, it's a cop. I turned around and walked back.
Jeff, that kind of thing is not within the norm. We don't, as police officers, we don't walk around at 12:30 at night in the morning, walking in between houses
I wouldn't have walked between the houses, I was by the lake. I couldn't keep going, so I walked up between the houses. That's it.
As the cop said, Pilo's story just doesn't add up, and this just gets more and more ridiculous as time goes on.
Think about what you're telling me.
I am thinking about what I'm telling you, the truth.
We're past the point of you were there, right? You readily admit that you were there.
Yes.
In between those two houses. If you get a call of someone walking in between two houses at 12:30 in the morning,
I don't know what call brought him out there. Yes,
of course. I mean, the person who
Yes.
called this in has every right in the world to do this, correct?
I have no idea who called it in. All right, what they called in wasn't me. All right, Dave said last night somebody knocked on somebody's door. I didn't knock on anybody's door.
If you think things have gotten bad, just wait for this next clip. It gets even worse once the investigator directly calls him out for his nonsense.
I understand.
You know exactly where we're sitting here. And there are things that you need to do, and there are things that you need to take responsibility for. Let me tell you, point blank, you've hurt two people in the last 12 hours, and you've hurt them deeply. In David Zemer and this female. Yes.
I did not hurt that female. I don't even know anything about that female. I wasn't the only time. Between those two houses, when I went to the lake, the door closed,
But that's not what David said.
I don't know what his perception of the situation was.
His desperate attempts to make his story work are embarrassing, and they only get worse from here on in.
He said somebody was walking around looking at this woman's windows. It was not me. Whoever it was, I have no goddamn clue. No goddamn clue whatsoever. I didn't do anything wrong. I had no ill intent. All I did was walk in that lake and up between those houses. All right? Honestly, I should have turned and walked back 50 feet and walked up onto the cul-de-sac that's right in that cul-de-sac. Yeah, cul-de-sac is right there. But I should have walked all the way back to where there's no houses and I walked up to the cul-de-sac. Obviously, that's what, looking back on it, perhaps that's what I should have done. Oh my God.
Is that how you came around?
Huh?
Is that how you came around? Did anything else? To see the spillway?
There's no spillway there.
Whatever you call it.
He sure is spurring out a lot of details for a guy who didn't even know the street name. His guilt is embarrassingly obvious.
At the end of the cul-de-sac, right? Is that the way you went around?
Originally, I started to come down off of whatever, I can't remember what the street is. Come down, right? I didn't want it, so I walked up on the street, whatever that street's called. I can't remember the name of the street. Andy Court. Walked down to where that cul-de-sac is, looked at that townhouse, I didn't go up to the windows of the townhouse. I looked at it from a distance to see if two-story whatever it was. If that's the one that was for sale, it was. I walked down by the lake, started going on the west side. It's like, no, I don't want to go that way. So I started to come around on the east side, walked around. That's where the little spillway thing comes down there. I know it's a spillway now.
At this point, the officer has had enough of Pilo's non-seriousness and decides to take hold of the situation.
We're at the point where, you have got to be thinking that this isn't some fishing expedition. We just didn't pick you out of the clear blue sky to come in.
All right.
Walk from the lake in between two houses up to the road.
I was up the road. And when I realized somebody was up there, I was like, I turned to go back, and that's what he said. And I turned around and came back to him.
Okay. But we're leaving out this. We're leaving out you standing up against the wall like this.
That did not occur.
And an officer confronted you twice.
That did not
And
occur.
then you turning
No.
and walking away.
A much-needed reality check for Pilo. However, if you think this would make him realize the gravity of the situation, you are sadly mistaken.
Officer, and I didn't do it. However, I have a police officer, I have a victim, I have you admittedly in the area. I mean, it's not looking good for Jeff Pilo.
I did not do anything to anyone.
And this is just a case of mistaken identity.
I didn't do anything to anyone.
Right now, he just looks like a baby throwing a tantrum. He knows he's been caught red-handed and he will face the consequences of his actions.
And we always use these lines as cliches,
I did
You're
not
the one
scream.
I did not do anything to anyone. That your guts are just screaming at you.
No, they're not. 'Cause I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything to anyone. Period. I didn't do anything to anyone.
Jeff Pilo, the former Bloomington police sergeant, sentenced this week to 440 years in prison. That's all for today. Let me know in the comments below which case was your favorite. And if you liked the video, subscribe so you can take advantage of the next one we have in store for you. Thanks for watching. This is Detective Mystery, signing off.